Hey, hey, everybody. Welcome to Making Connections. This is your girl, Aly. I hope everybody's having an amazing weekend. Listen, y'all, can you believe next weekend is like Christmas Eve? Christmas Eve weekend. Then the next weekend is the eve of the new year. Listen, I applaud everybody who, went through whatever you went through the year. You stayed focused, you stayed, faithful, and you made it to the end of the new year because we know a year has a lot in it, but congratulations, you did it, and you still have time to finish strong, right? And so we are here every Saturday at 12 noon, every Monday at 2 p.m. Make sure you're following us on Facebook and Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we have a new guest for you today. This is a new member of our family, y'all. So, Jeffrey, how are you doing today?
I'm absolutely fantastic, Allie. Well, happy holidays to everyone, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Well, Jeffrey, since you're new to the family, I want to give you opportunity just to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll jump into everything you got going on with Kentucky Innovative Farming Network.
Well, I am a father of six and a lovely wife and three grandchildren, and the founder of Kentucky Innovative Farming Network and Thelma's Garden Education Academy.
Awesome. Yes, y'all have big plans for the holidays?
Well, with all these people, there's a lot of cooking that needs to get done.
There you go. I hear you. Awesome, awesome. Well, let's talk about it. Well, welcome to our family. We're here for you. Whenever you have something going on, you can let us know and we'll let the family know. But I'm interested definitely in learning more about what Kentucky Innovative Farming Network is. So tell me, what is that?
So, Kentucky is a agriculture state and an equine as well. And so, as a retired teacher and a retired consultant with the Department of Education, um, uh, I one of my roles within that work was consulting with schools and districts on how to educate folk, particularly folk who are not easily don't easily receive public education readily. And I'm choosing my words carefully when I say,
Gotcha.
but at the end of the day, I pull together a group of local gardeners and teach them the concepts of agriculture so that we can have uh, food access in what we call food apartheid areas or food deserts. And so my teaching has elevated to where I was teaching students before, and now many of my students are grown, but I'm teaching their parents as well how to how to grow, grow, harvest, and process food locally.
Okay. Well, I always think that's neat because I can't remember where we were coming from the other day, but I saw a community garden. I was like, and I don't know, whenever I see them, I always think they're so cool. I don't really do much gardening or anything like that. So sometimes I just wonder, like, is it hard
Mhm.
to start and to
Well,
maintain?
well, everything is relative. I mean, when we think about how difficult it was to get toilet paper during the COVID pandemic, it's not as hard as that.
Right. And we stay
Yeah,
vigilant on trying to do it right.
and yet it meets the same need because we see that um, in that pandemic, toilet paper was at a premium, and it was difficult for folk to get. But we imagined during that period, what if it was food, and what would we be doing um, if it was that difficult to acquire not just canned goods and processed foods, because we know that that is not in the best interest of our physical health, but nutritious, healthy foods. How What would we do if, we walked in the store and the fresh produce and the frozen produce was no longer? Will we simply eat canned foods and die, or processed foods and get sick? Or is there a system that we can create now while the sun is shining, so that in the event that the clouds cover the food sun, then
Wow.
do we have a system to make sure people in poor and low income areas uh, have access to healthy food? And so that's where this whole notion began.
Okay. Because that was going to be one of my questions. What made you start this? But yes, because I mean, I don't know, all the stuff they're talking about on TV with the, oh gosh, what kind of meat is it that, oh gosh, I should have looked it up. But
It, genetic modified or
yeah, and
lab
first
grown.
of all, what does that mean? And then they
Yeah.
say it's going to be expensive, so it's still not going to be affordable for everybody to
And
obtain.
what is it going to do to us from a health perspective? And even not just the meat, but some of the food, some of the produce, some say have been genetically modified or even tampered with in some kind of way. That and so by growing locally, number one, we know where the food comes from. We know what pesticides or fertilizers were used, and we it's accessible to people in our neighborhoods.
Okay. So what kind of things are in the garden?
So we have, well, there's several things that we do. It's not just an outdoor garden. We do hydroponic, which is growing indoor,
Did you get a call? Jeffrey? Jeffrey?
we build raised garden beds with wood and raise them and put them in, because in urban agriculture, the space is very limited. So the art of urban agriculture really boils down is how effectively can we use limited space. And so raised garden beds is one way that we can.
Um, so I'm just checking. Okay, so sometimes it's me and everybody else can hear everybody. So I'm just trying to check with Alan to see if he can still hear Jeffrey.
Okay, now I see.
Okay, there you go.
Um, I was talking about raised garden beds. We carve out lip, because urban, again,
Well,
urban
Jeffrey,
agriculture has
can you
to
hear
do with
me?
small spaces. Yes, can you hear me?
Mhm. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to start over with that because you went in and out a couple times, but
Okay.
sometimes I don't know if it's me. So can you start again just to make sure we hear you?
What was the question again?
Because I was asking what is in the garden.
Yeah. So as I said, when we talk about urban agriculture, typically the space is limited, um, because of urban architecture and urban ecology. The whole idea is we utilize aquaponics, which is the use of water to grow, uh, well, use of excrement from fish to grow plants through watering systems, and then hydroponics. Raise, did we lose? Did we get disconnected again?
Yes. Um.
I don't know what
can-
we can do. Okay, let me just start there. Because urban agriculture is limited space, um, we We teach folk how to grow hydroponically, which is the use of water with nutrients in it to grow plants, no soil, and aquaponics, which is the use of the fish excrement to nurture growing plants in a watering system. But we also teach raised garden beds, which is, carved out smaller spaces which are not in the soil but raised above the soil to plant in, as well as we do join in with community gardens and support the whole idea of the a community accessing food from one particular community location. The key, the one of the ideas that we want to promote, however, is when we talk about innovative farming network, we're trying to take your typical gardeners who, they work every day, they garden, they bring their extra tomatoes to work and set them in the cafeteria for other folks to have, or cucumbers. Well, we're trying to get them to extend their harvest. We're teaching them to extend their harvest and then market their harvest in local markets where the community can access them.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, you talking about bringing it to work and put. I've seen that so many times. It's like they say they have an abundance of like
Right,
cucumbers and tomatoes, and they really do feed like the office the
right,
entire summer with cucumbers and tomatoes, and they are delicious.
right.
So, so why do you think this is something, and I know you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but why is it something to think about now, and how important is it for our communities and that we truly tap into what you're trying to do?
Well, we know that what we eat determines our physical health. And many of the diseases that we encounter as a community is primarily based on what our intake. So we enter the space through the lens of nutrition. And so, because we know that some things are better for us than others, um, we gravitate toward those things. But the challenge is where do those things come from that we're gravitating toward? What has been done to them? How long have they been? How long has it's been sitting, and to what degree is it, a hindrance to our health, then an asset to our health? So one of the reasons is for a nutritious community, a healthy community from nutrition. But the other thing is the fight for abundance in the face of scarcity. We
Mhm.
feel like there might be a time that healthy foods will not be accessible. And then there's already food deserts and food apartheid where people have to travel over 2 to 3 miles to get healthy food.
Wow.
I don't know if that's by coincidence or by design, but we do know that there is a group of people that who live longer than others, and there's a group that die earlier than others, and we attribute much of that to what we eat.
Right, right. And I mean it's true. And I think it's good that we are taking note of this now, because I say that all the time, even with COVID, nobody knew. Well, a lot of us didn't know it was coming. I don't really know all the behind the scenes, but we weren't prepared. And so even with financials and all that stuff, it's time to start preparing for the next pandemic or whatever could come our way. The next, people talk about the next 9/11.
Right.
Whatever it is, we have to start preparing now so we'll know how to move, right?
Yes. And we have to be able to identify those who are trustworthy to deliver healthy foods to us. I mean, because any old Joe can come to your neighborhood with a truckload of whatever and call it
Mhm.
healthy. But do we know him or her, or do we trust him or her, or
Mhm.
is he or she looking out for our best interests as a community? And so when we've already been branded as a trustworthy proponent of our health and are providing organically grown or using organic practices to grow a food that is free of pesticides and um, um, uh, chemical fertilizers, then you can bet that this group who is providing this food source is someone we can trust.
And I think that's where, even with terminology and things like that, we always hear people say buy organic, and we're like, what does organic mean? But it's what you're talking about, right?
Right,
It's organically grown. We know the
right,
pesticides. It hasn't been through a whole
right,
big facility that where, of course, they're being cost conscious and
right,
they're doing the least amount they have to do
mhm,
to make sure that it passes the FDA or what have you. But
right,
it's just organic just means
right.
what's happening, right?
Well, and also, was the soil tested before the plant, the produce was planted? Is there runoff from neighboring
Mm,
um, farms or whatever to the
mhm.
area that you're harvesting for people to consume? Is there air? I mean, is the air carrying any pesticides from or fertilizers from neighboring? All of these things are organic practices that we assure through our network that these folk are following organic practices. Now they're not all certified organic, but they do follow organic practices. Not because many people who certify organic were certified because they want to charge a higher amount for the produce.
Mhm.
Our goal of organic practices is not for profit, but it is for assuring that the food is healthy and that the thing that we are trying to mitigate is not causing the same problem that we're trying to avoid.
Right, right. And so is that a lot of the stuff that you teach, in the education academy?
Now, in the Education Academy, we teach all of those, but basically, we utilize the whole agriculture system to teach science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And unlike many situations where your kids will learn math and then they'll go outside and grow a garden, it's not like that. It's they learn measurements, for example, from
Oh,
building raised beds. They learn engineering from building aquaponic systems. They learn,
hmm.
technology from, creating systems to feeding and adjusting and measuring the different elements in the water that need to be in there. And so the science, technology, engineering, art, and math is embedded in the day-to-day practices, not some after, we're going to learn math and then we're going to plant a garden, two separate things. No, we embed it within the curriculum. And all of our teachers are certified teachers.
Okay. Well, because that's what I was thinking. I was like, you have your math class and then you go to the agriculture class. So
Right.
that's cool. I like the way all of that just kind of flows together, you know. So as you're learning one, you're learning another. So,
Well, what we found is that when students are engaged with hands-on practices and when they start a project and they see and they nurture that project and then they see the fruit of that project, they are more likely to retain the elements of the cognitive elements that are required and are tested on regarding that project. And so um, we're very proud of our record as public school. Our public school teacher did the same kind of thing. It wasn't as easily to do in the public setting because the funding was there were challenges, and all students were not selected based on their desire to participate in agriculture work. But in our setting, the students are selected because this is what they want to do. They're wanting to see beyond um, the day-to-day classroom to what can agriculture lead me to in a post-secondary setting. That's everything from lipstick to hair gels to food sources to ink and painting, and all of these things are avenues or outcomes that can come through the understanding of agriculture, utilizing science, technology, engineering, art, and math.
Oh, well, that's very interesting because, even like when you're talking about lipsticks and stuff like that, I often think, okay, how do people come up with this stuff? How do we know it's safe what we're putting on our bodies and, spraying on our bodies and putting on our lips and things like that? How is it tested and things like that? So,
Right. So that we use elements that we have, for example, colognes that the students create,
hmm,
utilizing flowers and coconut oil, and which really you could really eat the cologne.
mm, okay, you're back. You're back. I can
I'm
see
not,
your name.
yeah. So I mean, there's so many things that you can, so many directions you can go in through agriculture, that it's not just farming and backbreaking heat and eating raw foods. Um, uh, Although that's some of it, but there's
Right.
so many other areas as well. We've got people taking um, hemp, for example, taking hemp oils and
Mhm.
and making lotions and lip glosses and hair treatments, and all of these things uh, are or uh, agriculturally developed or horticulturally developed products.
Wow. This is this is deep. It's a lot deeper than we think it is, right?
Absolutely, and too often people of color um, don't look this way because it's been stigmatized, I guess, based on the historical perspective of slavery and hard work and outdoors. It's been stigmatized to where you don't, our culture went through a period where
Right.
didn't want to do that. They wanted to move out of the farm and move away from the agrarian areas so that we can move into offices and penthouses and suites. But what we found is that, that has negatively affected our mental health, because there's a therapeutic aspect of
Mhm.
agriculture as well. But more than that, it's negatively affected our physical health with diseases. We have diseases now that we never, 100 years ago or even
Right.
years ago, we never even experienced thought of. And
Right.
much of that is based on what we eat.
And you had mentioned something earlier, and I don't really remember, but it made me think about, everything that we put in our body, on our bodies,
Yeah.
it does affect us some kind of way. And it goes into the physical health, the
Mhm.
mental health, when you're eating things that are not good for your body can't process,
Right.
it will affect even your mental ability to be able to be aware and to be able to learn and things
Right.
like that.
Absolutely. Many of our kids, this is one of the mantras that I have for the kids that when I'm recruiting, we often, as I mentioned before, we often recruit through the lens of nutrition. And the kids love hot Cheetos and Takis. And there's a song out, hot Cheetos and Takis, hot Cheetos,
Mhm.
And really, the monosodium glutamate in the hot Cheetos and Takis is what's preventing our kids from being able to sit through a class and receive and retain the information that's being delivered. But we love the hot Cheetos and Takis, and sometimes are giving it as a treat when that very treat is preventing us from growing into the powerful gods and goddesses that we know that they could be.
Right. Wow. Could just be as simple as changing your diet that
Really.
could change you and your family's life and your ability to just move forward, right? Oh my gosh, that's major.
It is. I have, and I'm not swearing by this right now, but I'm entering into a space where I'm learning to eat according to blood type. And what we found is, preliminarily in the readings that I've had, or it was actually one book that I read, and I can't think of the author, but the title is "Eating According to Your Blood Type," and it can be found on Amazon. But what we found
Y'all hold on. This is gonna be good. I know it. Eating it according to your blood type.
when we eat it according to our blood type, what we found is our body processes the when we eat the correct food that aligns with how our blood type uh,
Mhm.
is designed. Uh, it aligns with our ability to make enzymes to fight disease, as well as to burn calories and not become as overweight as we as a culture traditionally has become.
Mm. And I've heard somebody say that before. It's like a friend a long time ago. I guess she went to a trainer or somebody, and they tested her and they told her these are the types of things that your body can digest and
Right.
use better. And she did lose a lot of weight, and she was she was just spunky after that. And I was like, okay,
Well, let me say this: that um, I was borderline. I go to I get a physical every year, at least once a year, and
mhm,
sometimes twice a year if there's an issue. And I was on the borderline with my uh, uh, sugar.
mhm.
They do a test. They call it a A1 or A,
A1C. Mhm.
and I was at 7 before I started. And so my doctor wanted to prescribe a medicine, which I'm really skeptical about taking any medicine anyway. And
Mhm.
so what I did was that eating according to blood type, and then I drank some um, teas that have burdock root and dandelion root and uh, elderberry. And I went back to the doctor in that 6 month period after he had asked me to take some prescribed medicine. I went back to the doctor. He said, and then I might add, he was overweight himself, but he said, what did you do? Did you take the medicine? I said, no, I didn't take the medicine. He said, what did you do? Your A1 is at 5, and your creatinine in your uh,
Mhm.
has been reduced as well. And what did you do? I said, I ate according to my blood type. I got this book. I strongly advise you. But the thing is doctors aren't in the practice of treating diseases or treating uh, uh, the body's misfiring of its function, but
Mhm.
they're more in the practice of mitigating the symptoms of the diseases or the symptoms of the body's misfiring. And so
Right.
when I talked to him about nutrition, it was foreign to him. He was like, there
Yeah.
are nutritionists, and I know that they do something, but in terms of he aligned it with weight and weight loss and that kind of thing, but not disease prevention. And I think that there's a movement, or there should be a movement, toward eating to prevent disease,
Mm.
because when I saw how my kidney functioning and my sugar levels were corrected just by what I eat, and incidentally, I had lost 6 pounds when I went back too. So he was like, did you go work out? I didn't work out, although I know I need to, but I did.
Yeah, I
and
mean, it's
and
all.
we saw some results as quickly as 6 months eating according to blood type.
And that's and we used to have a nutritionist on, Carrie Ann, who talked about that, and she never we never tell people what not to do, and
Right.
you better do this. It's all information, and what you
Hmm.
do with that information is up to you. And so, but she did talk about the meats and things we eat. It's dead stuff that's sitting in our colon and
Hmm.
our intestine, and sometimes some bodies can move that stuff through quickly.
Right.
Sometimes there are blockages, and sometimes you
Right.
just don't know. You just don't feel well,
Right.
and you sit in the bathroom for 30 minutes trying to have a movement. And
Right.
and you have to take inventory of
Hmm.
all those things for yourself, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And so that was the lens that we entered in. So if we're going to eat correctly, what is the best way to assure the best way to assure that what we're eating is what we think we're eating, and that is to grow it
Mhm.
yourself, or to become a part of a network of folk who have all agreed to operate with basic standards that will assure that no genetically modified organic practices, conservation practices as well, is occurring when we process and produce, harvest, and process these foods to be delivered.
Mm. And so what does joining the network mean? What does that look like for somebody
So
who's
we have three projects that we are working on. One is uh, actually the education piece, which is uh, K through 12, and right now we're not a school, although our plan is to be a independent or private school. Right now we're an after school and summer camp program, and
Mhm.
so we have all of that entails for young people K through 12. The second project is what we're calling um, a hot tunnel in every neighborhood. And so what we have is we have guys who are out of incarceration. We've employed them as a method of their transitioning back into the neighborhood. And what we're doing is actually teaching them everything we can about farming, but what they are not necessarily becoming farmers, but what they do is they're our labor force to help build high tunnels to a household. Say you want to, you've been growing tomatoes, you probably grew 100 tomatoes last summer, but now we want you to extend that to 1,000. We're going to make sure you get a high tunnel in your yard. Well, number one, we're going to make sure you get a farm number, and then you'll get a high tunnel in your yard, and then we'll work with you to grow them so that instead of having 100 tomatoes, you have 1,000, and then you'll take your 1,000 tomatoes either to our retail store that we have not developed but are planning to develop, or our restaurant that we have not developed and we're planning to develop, or our farmers market, which we do currently have pop-up farmer market in low income neighborhoods, so that folk can have access to healthy foods. The third process is the Garden of Eden. We're working with churches. One of the things that COVID brought about as well um, is the fall away from the church. So churches, folk did not return to the church from COVID, and so churches are having challenges, maintaining, congregation, and then maintaining funding. And so what we imagine is the church as a food source. And if the church is a food source, then we can call that the Garden of Eden, and we can grow on the church's property. We can use that same workforce, guys who are transitioning out of incarceration, learning how to farm for themselves, and working in community with others and we pay them, a living wage, not minimum wage, so that they can, transition with with ability to pay for their apartment or their home, as well as to acquire food and car and shelter and that kind of thing. But the church as a farm or food source is what we're calling the Garden of Eden.
Okay, very nice. So even when you're talking about all of this, even like with the soil, what's the first thing? How do you make sure, like you said, the soil is good, or how do you, if it's not, how do you make it so?
Right. So there are every community has extension agencies from the universities, or from even, many of them are part of the universities, or their health departments. But they'll do a soil sample. And so you have a particular area that you're wanting to grow in, then you take several samples from various spots in that growing area, and you take it down to the local extension, and they can go through that soil and to tell you to what degree it's healthy, to what degree it is not healthy. Well, there are cover crops and there are things that you can do to soil, organic, to add organic things to the soil, or cover the soil, or even add nutrients to the soil to bring it up to the quality that is required to for effective growing.
Okay. Yes, listen, this is really, really interesting to me. So I think it's something like you said we need to look at in our communities. We have to have resources. We need ways of being able to maintain our communities, keep our families healthy and growing. And even when you talked about nutrients, I think there's a lot of because I've been talking to my doctor. Well, I'm switching doctors because this one is not really giving me what I need. And listen, y'all need to do that. If the doctors are not listening to you, not answering your questions, you need to find another doctor. There's plenty out there. Keep going till you find the right one. Because I think even in my body, there are nutrients that are missing, and I'm trying to figure out what are they, what and why. Is my body not processing it? Am I just not getting it from what I'm eating or putting in my body? What's going on? And I'm doing it because, listen, I mean, I see now my parents are getting older and the things that they go through, and I'm like, listen, I need to be here and be as effective to be able to help them along the way. But then I'm going to be getting older, so I just think that all these conversations are good conversations, whatever stage you're in, to start having, because it's stuff we need to start looking at. And Jeffrey, you're muted, so make sure you unmute. Jeffrey, you're muted. There you go.
The piece, one of the things that I wanted to, you had just mentioned that you started taking accountability for your body. And I think that that's the important piece, because we depend on the doctor to tell us whether we're doing okay and whether we're not. Well, they can tell us whether we're doing okay, but we can research the things that we need to make. I mean, it's like, if something's wrong with your car, my problem is the car stopped. I don't know what's wrong, why it stopped. So I might take it to get a diagnostic, but the person who gives the diagnostic is not necessarily the person who I will have fixing the car.
Oh,
Um, and likewise, it's okay. It's great to go to the doctor to see, what your levels are, or but once you identify, as you have mentioned, that, your body's missing some nutrients, well, there are some supplements, there are some natural supplements, there are some teas, there's some plants, there's some mosses, there's some seaweed, there's some things that are out there in terms of supplement that you can mitigate your own challenges. Because when you ask the doctor to provide the response, he or she is in the culture where they practice medicine, and so what they're going to do is provide a prescription medicine, and it might mitigate the thing that you're concerned about, but it also, because it's synthetic, or because it's in many cases not natural, um, it has other side effects that could be worse than the thing you were trying to address. But they don't worry about that. They just know that it works. And so, now I'm not saying don't ever go to a doctor and don't ever take medicine. I would be remiss to say that. But I would say, do some research on your own and take accountability for what your body needs. And what you'll see is that there's things out there, and there's people out there who have great information about mitigating some of the issues, including cholesterol, including high blood pressure, including sugar, all of which people of color wrestle with regularly. For example, for my blood type, I'm not allowed to eat chicken because chicken has lecithin in it, and it thickens my blood type. Well, I've been raised on chicken. I love chicken. We have chicken at church. We have chicken at church's chicken, and then we have chicken when we come out of church. I mean, chicken is a part of. I mean, there's not a week that goes by that I didn't eat chicken. And so to think about not eating
Yeah.
chicken was crazy. But I would say that the fact that I was able to walk away from chicken is probably what helped that A1 come down, and it's probably what helped, my blood pressure. I mean, I never was in the danger zone, but it was higher than what I thought it needed to be.
Right.
But no one ever told me that. But the pastor promotes chicken because at the church dinner is chicken. The banquet hall promotes chicken because at the banquet there's always chicken, and everywhere I do is chicken.
Piece of fried chicken makes everybody feel better. Uh-oh, I think we lost Jeffrey for a minute. Hopefully he will come back in. Uh, Let me see if I can send a message. But listen, just like you said, I mean, we have chicken everything. I mean, chicken is for baby showers, chicken is for bridal showers, repasts. I mean, yeah, we eat a lot of chicken. But there are other things that we can eat if chicken is not suitable for your blood type. Or maybe, like he said, because we have so many options for chicken, maybe we don't eat chicken at every event, right? There is a thing, you can have it on occasion, maybe not every day, every week. So don't get too upset about that because you can probably still have it, just not to the same capacity, I would say. So we're hoping that Jeffrey comes back in. So, Alan, while we're waiting for Jeffrey to come back, if you want to go ahead and let's do seven candles. And when he comes back in, we'll continue this conversation. So, listen, because y'all, we are a week away from Christmas. We are 2 weeks away from the new year. So, I hope that everybody don't be stressing yourself out about this holiday season. Listen, hopefully, people will understand if maybe you can't travel like you used to. Maybe you can't buy gifts to the same extent. Let's spend some quality time with one another. Let that be the gift. Quality time, talking, sharing, visualizing what's coming up for next year and how we want life to run. And so make sure you spend some quality time. Make sure you are resting because even with, what we're talking about, being healthy, that rest part, that sleep, and it's not just sleep all the time, but truly taking time to get away from our devices, find out what's on social media because it'll be in your news feed for as long as it's there so you can catch up some other time. So we got to think about all those things because we have definitely been programmed to be on social media and to find out what's happening and to be able to listen. The news will be there. So in this holiday season, take some time out, rest, give your body a time to refuel and to restore. So, Alan, if you'll run that commercial for me, and we'll be back, and hopefully Jeffrey will be with us.
Let it bring us all together. We must speak for ourselves. We all have work to do. Well, from doing for ourselves. Motivated to thrive. Make our spaces more beautiful. We just need to believe. On the eve after the Saturday night, family fills the house. Drums play till morning light. Opening the tin of Nana's black cake. Stories fill the air, oh for goodness sake. First fruits of the harvest feed souls all around the land. We know we've got this knowledge, wisdom to understand. Let it bring us all together. 7 candles. We must speak for ourselves. 7 candles. We all have work to do. 7 candles. Well, from doing for ourselves. 7 candles. Motivated to thrive. 7 candles. Make our spaces more beautiful. 7 candles. We just need to believe. 7 candles. Elders share their words with the youth, knowing our own tales, telling our own truth, opening the doors to the coming times. It belongs to us if we put it in our minds. First fruits of the harvest, feed souls all around the land. We know we've got this knowledge, wisdom to understand. Let it bring us all together. 7 candles. We must speak for ourselves. 7 candles. We all have work to do. 7 candles. Well, from doing for ourselves. 7 candles. Motivated to thrive. 7 candles. Make our spaces more beautiful. 7 we just need to believe. 7 candles. All together. 7 candles. We must speak for ourselves. 7 candles. We all have work to do. 7 candles. Well, from doing for ourselves. 7 candles. Motivated to thrive. 7 candles. Make our spaces more beautiful. 7 candles. We just need to believe. 7 candles.
Hey, everybody. So that was a song by the Groovaladas called 7 Candles, and it is in honor of the Kwanzaa season. And so just talks about all the different 7 different steps of Kwanzaa and the things that we recognize. And so I appreciate the Groovaladas. They are the best. You know that Mualim is the creator of our theme songs, Making Connections. So we always appreciate them. And so I don't think that Jeffrey has reconnected yet. So I want to go ahead and play our last commercial. And I do think we might have his contact information that we have as banners, but want to hopefully give him an opportunity to connect and, just come back and tell us where we can follow him. Alan, if you are ready, you can go ahead and do the 2 ITUs together, and then we'll get out of here.
Hello, wonderful listeners of Making Connections with Aly. I have something truly special to share with you today. Have you ever dreamt of financial success and didn't know where to start? Look no further than Independent Trading University. At ITU, we offer a diverse range of courses, from Forex basics to advanced technicals, along with comprehensive fundamentals education, mindset coaching, health and wellness guidance, plus stock and crypto trading strategies. That's right. Everything you need for a well-rounded trading journey, all in one place. Our mission is clear, helping you make extra income by learning the art of trading. Join us today at solo.to/independent-trading-guru and take advantage of an exclusive pre-sale. $50 for undergrad students looking to trade part-time, and just $75 for career traders ready to dive in full-time. With ITU, you'll master the art of making consistent income from the markets. This is your chance to start building a brighter financial future. Are you ready to transform your trading game and take control of your financial future? Look no further than Independent Trading University, your one-stop destination for comprehensive Forex education and so much more. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced trader, we've got you covered. We believe in a holistic approach to trading success. Gain a deep understanding of market fundamentals, master your mindset, and prioritize your well-being. We're here to support your growth every step of the way. And let's not forget about stocks and crypto. Discover exciting opportunities and learn strategies to make extra income. The best part? We're running a limited time pre-sale for new students. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to gain the skills, knowledge, and support you need to succeed. Ready to make connections with your financial future? Visit our website at solo.to/independent-trading-guru to secure your spot in our pre-sale today. Independent Trading University, where trading dreams become reality. It's time to start your journey to financial freedom. Don't wait. Visit solo.to/independent-trading-guru now.
Hello. Welcome back to Making Connections with Aly. Listen, I think Mr. Jeffrey is gone, but we have been talking with him. He's the founder of Kentucky Innovative Farming Network. And so, he's just been talking about agriculture, talking about STEM, and how all of that works together, that, the students don't just go to a math class and then go out to a garden, but all of those things and the education that they get all runs together. So KentuckyInnovativeFarming.com is the website that you can reach them, find out more information. We might have an email or phone number you can also call. I am sure they're on social media, Instagram and Facebook. Check them, look for them there. I'll try to find their pages and tag them in the description of the video. But going back to Independent Trading University, because kind of skipped over that. So that's the phone number for Kentucky Innovative Farming Network, 859-382-7486. But you got anything else to put up there, Alan, before I jump back to Independent Trading University? Okay. So, but I do want to talk about the video for Independent Trading University. So that is their contact information, solo.to/independent trading U. And that's just the letter U. But the first thing was about a contest. It started December 4th, but maybe you're kind of in the trading arena already, and it actually goes to the 23rd. So you have a week. Whoever, makes the best trades, receives the most money from their trades in that contest period, are applicable for winning a prize. So go to that site and check out, if you still got a week, it runs to the 23rd. And then, again, we are talking about so much about becoming better, realizing what we need, what our family needs, what our community needs, and not just being waiting for somebody else to tell us what we can have and what we can't do. We are, getting ourselves together, mind, body, and soul. That is, financially, that is physically, that's mentally, that's spiritually. So, and some of us are doing better in one area than somebody else. So again, it's, figuring out what you need in your life. If you're in need of some financial assistance and things like that, learning the markets, like with trading, independent trading university, they're give they're there to supply and to help guide you through reading the markets, learning about fundamentals, learning about interest rates and things like that. We always talk about, even with making sure your family is good with finances, as far as, life insurance and things like that, so that when things happen with your family, when the breadwinner is no longer there, what happens to the family unit? What happens to the house? Are they able to cover the bills? And so we have to looking into making sure all those things are in place and taken care of, because just like I said with COVID, it hit us, and it was kind of hard to prepare then because it was there. So let's prepare now for whatever's coming next. And even if we don't see a next in like a COVID or whatever, but still our family unit is growing and going forward. And so we want to make sure everything is in place. So again, we are the connection tribe. So, we're able to help you make those connections with whatever it is that you're missing in your life. Maybe you're an organization and you're starting to branch out and you don't know how to get the word out. This is Making Connections with Aly, the show, but we are Making Connections TV network. So, if you need to be seen, heard more, you need to be able to get your voice out there, tell your story, we're able to help you to start your own podcast, your own live stream viewing, just like we do here, and teach you the steps of how to build that and how to present that and how to be able to, whatever your market is, bring people in and talk about, if you're talking about crafts, if you're talking about baking, whatever it is, get your audience, in tune to what you're doing and bring others on, just like we have different guests. It's so many ways to work it. You can just be the one giving all the information, teaching somebody about something. You can bring others in, have guests to introduce stuff. So many ways to do it. And listen, we've been here 5 years. Alan is definitely the founder of all of this. And so whenever there's a question I don't know, I can ask Alan, because I really do know that my network is my net worth. So we're trying to tap into all of that. So listen, we are here, as you saw Alan put up the flyer. We're here every Saturday at 12 noon, every Monday at 2 p.m. We do a fun replay on Thursdays at 7 p.m. because we have 5 years worth of content. And so we are here for you. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Let's get those followers up, especially on Facebook, because we know once we get to 1,000, the algorithm changes and the content will be viewable to more eyes and to more ears. We want more people to know about harvesting food in apartheid communities and areas like Jeffrey talked about. We need that. Our communities need that. And so help us get to those 1,000 followers. And remember, we're just 2 weeks away from the new year, and we have been nominated for Podcast of the Year for the South Carolina Underground Music Awards. And so voting starts in January. So we're going to need you guys. It's the whole month of January. So if you can vote daily, go ahead and start putting your reminders in your phone. Vote for Making Connections with Aly. And so we would love to, be able to walk away with that award on February 4th when we go to the awards ceremony. So definitely appreciate you listening and tuning in. Listen, don't be stressed about the holiday season. This is a time to enjoy. This is a time to get together with family, love on them friends, or even just take some time off for yourself. Even if you're not traveling, it's okay. Enjoy your time, because time is the most precious thing you have, okay? So until next time, as always, we're leaving you with love, positivity, and good vibes. Have a great day, everybody.